sell in May and go away is typically the mantra on Wall Street, and it is May 1st, 2024. Massive stock market panic, in my opinion, has just begun. And we are seeing stocks collapse across the board, whether or not this is Starbucks losing over 17%, nearly 20%, billions of dollars of value eviscerated and shattered on Wall Street from numerous names, including AMD, and in addition, CVS down near 20%, Tesla on its way back down to break what I believe will be new all-time lows very soon. It was down as much as 40% a week ago, down about 30%. I am expecting it to cascade into bankruptcy under $150 a share very, very soon, as the central bank is now positioned to put a pause to any rate cuts due to the hyperinflation that they caused worldwide. Again, I am General Greene. God bless each and every one of you tuning in. It is an honor to serve. And of course, Jesus Christ is King. Please like and share this. Now, we had a brute force shock to the stock market yesterday, its worst single day performance and worst performance since September 2022. Now we see the S&P 500 struggling along with the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones Industrial Average up a measly 125 points as numerous companies are now posting results. Supermicro plummets 18% after posting revenue miss. So that's the bad news. The bad news is welcome to World War III. Welcome to hyperinflation. Welcome to a stock market panic bust, which I've been warning you about, will precipitate and cascade into bank runs and massive capitulation in the coming days. That's the bad news. Politics in America, that's the bad news. Trump versus Biden, Biden versus Trump. That circus is the bad news. So, General, what is the good news? The good news is millions of dollars can be made in this market, in this incredible disruption and collapse of the westernized empire and also the United States of America. There is more opportunity now in the blood, in the panic of the average American, in their stock portfolios crashing, which is why, again, I've been telling you to take profits. I've been telling you to take 25% Bitcoin profits in recent weeks, minimum. I've been telling you to roll over and move your retirement accounts into a stable, safe haven asset with no bank debt, and to call my father at 808-442-2934, as well as onboard at islandproject.com in the members tab as quickly as in 5 minutes or less as a non-accredited or accredited investor. Because we knew that this was going to happen. This isn't surprising. The scam of central banks, the scam of Jerome Powell, and the Ponzi scheme of the U.S. stock market, record amounts of debt, unfunded liabilities, egregious wars overseas that most Americans don't support because they won't fight on the front lines. Ukraine, no politician's going to go fight on the front line of Ukraine, guys, or send their kids on Ukraine. They'll send drones, or they'll send your children, and no one wants to fight a war in Israel. This is why the International Criminal Court is likely to press charges against key Israeli figures, which, by the way, that's just propaganda to build support for the war. It's reverse psychology, reverse propaganda. So don't even trust that messaging. It's all lies. But the good news here is, because we're about to approach capitulation, which I think it's going to get even bloodier. So again, I'm expecting even more of a crash. Now, Bitcoin is under heat today as we see it trading below 60K, which was a psychological threshold, now down about 4% at 57,000. Now, give some perspective here for a minute and zoom out. Bitcoin over the last year is up over 100%. So a little consolidation is, pretty whimsical in small, considering you're up over 100% over the last year. Also, Bitcoin is still up near 40% year to date. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Again, when I was throwing chairs in the pool in 2022 in December, Bitcoin was trading at 16K. So you went up like 5 or 6x if you listen to me, and if you bought at 3,500, you did even better. So keep that in mind. All that's happening now, so what's going on? Again, America is one giant Ponzi scheme scam. So the only thing that's happening, and you should be buying XTZ, Lance. I bought more. You should be buying more of it. You should be buying more of these positions. We'll be talking about in a minute. But because all of America, especially Wall Street, is one Ponzi scheme scam, a country that's bankrupt, a country that's fraudulent, a too big to fail bailout company, or country and companies. And by the way, Johnson & Johnson has just settled a $6.7 billion, if I remember correctly, lawsuit, a class action lawsuit for causing cancer to millions of people worldwide as a result of its talcum powder. So I wonder if that other thing that they have no legal liability will have any issues in the future. Well, of course it will, but they have a 100-year free ride. And so everybody that's gotten sick or turbo cancer or perishes will be long gone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. There'll be gravestones at that point by the time the lawsuits start flying on the no legal liability, stuff that we're not allowed to talk about. I just wanted to point that out, though, because if baby powder causes cancer, imagine what the non-legal liability stuff does. And that's not even what this video is about, but that's why you don't comply. But again, you need to think critically and cynically about what's going on. So all that's happening, trust this plan, very simple. Bitcoin will be trading at 150K, 250K later this year. Got a little bit of a cold. Later this year, that's in my opinion a guarantee. But before that happens, BlackRock is going to rob you and the American public of every piece of Bitcoin and every cryptocurrency that you own if you allow them. BlackRock, which is buying the entire market, which is managing $10 trillion of assets worldwide, that has launched new investments with Saudi Arabia, which doesn't even like America. Keep this in mind. Saudi Arabia doesn't like America, doesn't like Israel, really. They're standing more with Iran and Houthi rebels than they are America. So keep in mind, BlackRock is also selling you and your children out while it Ponzi's the markets up, while it buys every home in America. Private equity is buying every single family home in America. That's why property values will keep going up. They will keep going up, because that's the plan. The plan of BlackRock and others at the top is to get rid of every American's job, destroy entrepreneurship, remove ownership of everything, all key resources, assets, mostly homes, energy, commodities, anything that you can think of, and then to organize the sheeple into a socialist commie dictatorship, which you know the word for that, as they move you to universal basic income and peasantry, into a new feudal society of which you are overruled by oligarchical tyrants. And that's the truth. So here's what's really exciting about this. More opportunity now than we've seen in months. There's more opportunity to make money in Bitcoin and make your first $1 million than there's ever been before. There is more opportunity to onboard the digital Noah's Ark before the stock market implodes than there ever has been in the history, probably, of broadcasting this channel. You have limited time because, of course, the central bank is intent on destroying capital and taking your bags of the precious crypto and other assets that it wants, so that it can move you on this roadmap to tyranny, much like Hunger Games. Again, they don't care about you. I mean, we saw what they did to you in 2008 and '09. They just wipe all of you out. They could care less. They take your home, they foreclose on it. After they Ponzi'd everything up with all their bailouts and their mortgage-backed securities that were all fraudulent at the time, you know, at Countrywide, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, the list goes on and on. After they did that and defrauding the vast American public and stealing most of the baby boomers' wealth, they then Ponzi'd everything up again through debt, bailouts, and absolute fraud with the American public, because that's what they do. And we understand that. We understand that the world that we live in. Here's more positive news, because I've been around long enough where I can bring these connections to the overall roadmap on your profitability roadmap on how to get rich while BlackRock and others attempt to destroy your life. One, anytime we see major exchanges taken out or key figures in the crypto industry attacked, or people like John McAfee whacked, that's bullish, okay? And you must understand this. So when SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, dip crapper, deep state asset, who was the second largest donor to George Soros to the Democratic Cuck Party, when he went down and he was in handcuffs, what did I tell you? Buy. I said it was the bottom and started throwing chairs over the balcony into the pool. And I was right. 16K was the bottom. Because again, anytime an exchange collapses like FTX or Mt. Gox, or someone's taken out and or whacked like John McAfee, who's sipping a Mai Tai somewhere, by the way, still alive. It's like the movie Face Off, where they change their faces and they move abroad. That's always bullish. So what happened in the last 24 hours? We've seen this with other exchanges as well. Roger Ver, Bitcoin Jesus, is now being extradited from Spain into the United States because they allege he didn't pay back taxes. So he's being extradited. CZ Binance, you know, the another who's, you know, he's a good entrepreneur, but he's essentially the Chinese Canadian exchange, was sentenced yesterday. 3 months, just a little tap on the butt, you know. So I guess for him it was worth it, because he's made billions and billions of dollars. He's going to go read a book for 90 days, get out, be the richest man on planet Earth. That happened. And I think something else is going to happen very, very soon. Here's what I think they're going to do. I think they're actually going to target decentralized exchanges. And I've said this for some time. It's not that they can go after the technology of decentralization. They can't, but they can go after the people, okay? So we've seen some of this already happen, and I'm expecting another capitulatory event like that. Good news. Good news. Because again, we know that BlackRock and the deep state will never let us down on their roadmap to a tyrannical takeover, which is going to present all of us, myself included, with massive opportunities to continue to get stinking rich in the coming days. So here's what I want you to do, and I've been saying this for really weeks and months now. I told you to take profits if you were up big, at least 25% of your crypto portfolio, which most of you, I think, took that advice. Now we're in dip buying mode, okay? But we haven't seen the final capitulation yet. I mean, until I've been picking some things apart, you know, buying a little bit here and here. I'm nibbling, but I'm not in full, you know, going all in mode yet. I want to see total pandemonium. I want to see fear in everyone's eyes. I want to see articles that say Bitcoin's going to zero. I want to see Bitcoin as a scam. I want to see an article on Forbes that says BlackRock made a mistake buying Bitcoin and launching their ETF. I want to see a final washout, capitulatory, sheep pandemonium running to the exits. I want my phones to start blowing up like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Bitcoin's crashing. Then that'll be the time to go all in. And as I've been telling you, we will be hitting new all-time record greedy. You're going to see tons of greed later this summer. Lambos are going to be flying out all off the shelves again, diamond earrings, etc. And everyone's going to think that they're a genius. Probably like, you know, July-ish, August, something in that time frame. Again, people were getting far too bullish in recent weeks, in recent months, in my opinion. You know, I'm a perma bull. I mean, again, this is the #1 technology in the world. Over the next 10 years, crypto will be a multi-trillion dollar asset class. It already is. It will eclipse the market cap of all the big 7 tech stocks, including Google, Amazon, Tesla. I mean, the list goes on and on. All these companies. It'll be bigger than all of them. And then, of course, as they indoctrinate everybody into the new society of no jobs, no wealth, and no real ownership, they'll then take Bitcoin to probably $1 million, $2 million after the collapse of the West, all freedom and all ownership. You guys think I'm joking, but I'm not. This is really what I believe. It's why I built in democratized fashion islandproject.com, the #1 asset in the world for all of you tuning in, with no bank debt, no downside risk. I have to say there's risk because, of course, it's not available to the public, and I'm not a financial advisor. See our terms and see if you qualify, but it has an appraised value every single year. It's the best properties in the world, which is why they keep skyrocketing. And I've been telling you to onboard because cryptocurrencies across the board are very volatile. You know, let's talk about that too. If they start to attack, which I believe they will, decentralized exchanges, because as I said a few days ago, it's decentralized and unconfiscatable, but they can attack people like Roger Ver. We've seen this with the Tate brothers that, you know, if you're not following the rules of the mafia, paying your taxes, in those kinds of things, they'll come after you. And that's what we've seen. Again, you must understand you're not free. This is what I've been telling you for years. It's all an illusion. You're controlled by oligarchs and kings in the United States. That's why there's no choice in the presidential election. It's the same guys, Trump and Biden over and over again, or it's the Obamas, or it's Clinton. You don't get a choice because there is no choice. And this is what you need to understand. You live under tyranny in the United States and in the westernized world, and that's what exists now because people allowed it to be taken over. And you didn't defend yourself. You allowed companies like J&J, I'm not talking to you, I'm preaching to the choir here, I know, J&J to cause turbo cancers with all their talc powder. And then the people that complied in 2020 have now destroyed freedom permanently for all their children and grandchildren. Which is why the only roadmap forward is decentralization. The only roadmap forward is building brand new countries, brand new parallel economies of the future, of which you have sovereignty and you control, and then to domicile those flagships worldwide in multiple geolocational areas, and also diversify the governmental factor risk and not just one jurisdiction. Because the whole goal is that you're a slave, okay? So that you can be taxed, so you can be harassed, so you can be intimidated, and so you can be medicated. This is also why the Joe Biden administration is looking to legalize marijuana in the United States, because the more stoned the average cuck here in America is, the easier it will be for them to overthrow the United States. If people are stoned out of their mind and they're on drugs, it's much easier for Joe Biden and any other president for that matter to have their way with the American people. Also, Joe Biden proving that the US dollar is absolute trash dog crap today, extinguished and got rid of, I think, over $6 billion worth of student loans. Absolutely destroying any college grad that actually paid their debt off. So you were just middle fingered by the Joe Biden administration, which only causes more hyperinflation by forgiving debt that students took on their shoulders. You've stoked more hyperinflation, and you've screwed every single student who worked 1 or 2 jobs to pay off their debt, a single mom who struggled through school and she was at IHOP flipping burgers or pancakes. You've just shown your hand that not only is America one giant scam, Ponzi scheme fraud, but you've assured hyperinflation. And in addition to that, the good thing is you've lost millions of people that have now been screwed, just like 2008 and 09, that now have zero faith in their political supervisors. You know, mastas. They're mastas who have now zero faith in the master class, right? It's kind of like when the Titanic was sinking, which was the equivalent to what's happening in America now. It's going to get much worse. I'll tell you this all day long. I mean, again, stocks will cascade into the most brutal assault in 1929 fashion in the coming months. That's why you need to rush your money out of the banks. You need to get it out of the banks now. You need to roll over your IRAs and retirement accounts. But it's kind of like the Titanic sinking when the one higher class lady is like, are they going to seat these lifeboats by class? Yeah, and they will. And that's what they're doing now. They're giving free money to BlackRock, selling you out. They're giving free money to the banks. They're allowing the insiders to dump on you and to sell all their stocks. Jamie Dimon, Tim Cook, others, all the oligarchs, Zuckerberg, Bezos, the list goes on and on. Then they'll crash the system, and then they'll own the entire system even more. Once they've concentrated the power, they then will Ponzi Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency market to new record all-time highs. It happens over and over again. So May 1st, they say, sell in May and go away. We're seeing that happen. And I believe, you know, I've talked about this with my father. I mean, probably what we'll get is like a 30% crash in a day. You know, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, you won't be able to sell anything. It'll be down like, you know, 10,000 points in an hour. You know, something like that. It's going to be just one giant circuit breaker, fiesta, panic, zone, just hyperbole event. And then, you know, they'll sprinkle in a little World War III or, I don't know, some Iranian proxies out there in the cities or something to raise more fear. And, you know, then they'll start to institute the capital controls around the time, you know, Taiwan's invaded. And you're right, Angel, that's when to buy. That's when to buy. So here's what I'm saying. Excuse me, I'm sick. And I can't keep talking unless I spit the phlegm out, so I apologize. I'm politically incorrect. So here is the message of this video. Be greedy now. I want you extremely greedy, okay? In a good way. As this capitulatory move continues, realize this is your moment to make the big money. This is how you make money. You buy the pandemonium, okay, which we're going to see play out in the coming days and weeks. I kind of knew we were getting toppy too, because I was getting a lot of text messages from people that are like, hey, I'm launching a new coin. I'm doing this. Oh, 150K is guaranteed. I'm like, probably some profit taking times. Now it's moving in reversion. The greed is turning into, starting to turn into fear. That's when you're going to want to pounce. Again, you buy low. And then in the case of Bitcoin, you just really never need to sell because you can securitize the asset. But when you double, triple, 5x, 10x your money, you of course take profits. Again, keep in mind, Bitcoin's up over 100% over the last year. It is up near 40% just in the last couple of months, year to date. All right, that's it because I'm losing my voice. I'm going to preserve my voice. I hope that provides some clarification. But as the title of this video, expect stocks to continue to collapse. I will be proven right about it. Expect the worst 1929 stock market event. Expect hyperinflation to continue. Expect all jobs to be destroyed in the United States, and expect BlackRock to buy all the assets. Because BlackRock's really funded by the government. They're just another mafia that's there to screw you. Again, I was talking about it with a friend. They're like, yeah, you know, that isn't in like finance. And they're like, yeah, it's crazy. It's just like no one can afford houses anymore and the prices keep going up and up. And, you know, now I'm seeing that like companies seem to be buying all. It's like, yeah, dude, like where have you been? I've been saying this for years now. It's only going to continue. And all of America's corporations are giant sellouts. I'll even criticize the PGA Tour. Remember when the PGA Tour was being poached by the Saudi fund and Live Tour? And so Live Tour started offering all the pro golfers like Dustin Johnson and Scotty Scheffler hundreds of millions of dollars to go over. And so many of them, being, good strapping entrepreneurs, were like, yeah, heck yeah, that's multi-generational wealth for my family and extended family. And they signed the contract, and then they were receiving a bunch of criticism for doing that. And the PGA Tour called a bunch of emergency meetings and said, hey, your loyalty needs to be to the PGA. Don't sell out. ESPN was like giving a lot of crap to everybody that signed for all those major bucks, saying that they were evil for doing it and they never should have done it, and that the honorable thing was to stay and honor the legacy of the PGA Tour. And you know what happened next? Behind closed doors and stabbing all of the PGA Tour members that actually stood by the PGA Tour in the back. They took the knife, stabbed everyone in the back like McIlroy and others, and then twisted it, okay? Because this is what the United States stands for and all the corporations. Twisted it and then suddenly announced that behind closed doors they had used those same players that turned down the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in multi-generational wealth and struck their own insider deal for the PGA Tour and the CEOs at the top to absolutely screw over every single PGA Tour member. And again, another case in point of just all these companies are direct sellouts of the United States. They obviously despise the USA, and they're the companies that are hurting all of you tuning in. BlackRock's no different. BlackRock's over there launching new Saudi funds. They could care less. So you must understand this, just how evil Wall Street is. And again, they make their money on the backs of the American people. They make their money. What was BlackRock doing in 2020 when they took down stocks temporarily in the crypto market? They bought it all up and were getting their ETF funds ready. That's what they were doing. They're doing the same thing now. So again, I'm actually very, very bullish, even though the title of this video seems really negative. I told you I'd be buying Lambos, which, you saw my new Lambo. I'm going to be buying more supercars in the future because this is where you make the big bucks. Again, if you can't handle volatility and risk, you don't deserve to be Bitcoin rich. If you can't handle volatility and risk, you don't deserve to live the life of your dreams because you've taken less risk. Same thing the live players are saying. Dustin Johnson, for example, I like him. He's a very good golfer, said this. He's like, do you think that the PGA Tour players that stayed and honored the PGA Tour that screwed them should get, bonuses or get paid anything extra? He's like, no. He's like, hell no. They shouldn't get paid anything. He said, because I took the risk, went to the Live Tour, then everyone hated on me, then I was proven correct, and now they're a part of the PGA Tour again. So again, just understand this risk-return relationship in life. I think one of the reasons I'm a good investor, actually, is because if you gave me two options, like Christopher, you're going to have to put your diamond nuts on the line here. You're going to have to take all the risk and go all in. Put them on the chopping block. You have the opportunity to live the life of your dreams and to make millions and millions and millions of dollars and multi-generational wealth. Or you can, or it might all go to zero, okay? Or you can go over here, what's the second option? And live a normal life. Every single time I choose this, I choose the risk. Because again, the sacrifice is actually being normal. The sacrifice is actually living miserably, not to your full potential. The sacrifice is, being on your deathbed someday and being like, thinking you were weak, or that you didn't take any risk, or that you weren't bold enough to do the things and achieve the things that you really want in your life. So again, just kind of trying to motivate you a little bit today, but this is the biggest opportunity I have seen probably since we were at 16K Bitcoin. So again, we want to see a lot of cynicism, and we want to see a lot of people panicking, and we want to see a lot of hate in the mainstream, not you guys. I know you guys are following me and you're smart. I'm talking about the mainstream. I want to see pandemonium. And the other thing that people aren't accounting for is that Bitcoin and crypto have never been in an environment while the stock market was crashing with it. So we've never seen that. Again, everything's one giant scam. America's a scam. It's all correlated. Every stock in IOU, that fake paper wealth that's being traded back and forth by the big banks, is one giant scam, and it's all correlated. In 2009, every company and every sector and every investment crashed. It didn't matter if it was, healthcare, finance, the banks, services, technology, they all crashed because, again, Wall Street's a scam. And this is what you need to understand. You've got to be cynical. Like I tell you all the time, money's an illusion. That's why it's very easy to make. Your whole life's an illusion. The way that they've constructed society. Again, as they destroy all the jobs, they're taking out all the menial jobs now. Not that there's anything wrong with a menial job, but they're taking away all the Ubers next, all the truck drivers. They're going to take away, all the door dashers, all the people that do that kind of business and work because there's no jobs left. All that will be removed and replaced by the oligarchical tyrants. So they're going to take all those jobs. There's really not going to be a lot of opportunities in the future. Everyone's going to be replaced by robots. Areas of opportunity are tech, social media, e-commerce, blockchain. And then the other major area, if you're not into those fields, if you're like an air conditioner repairman or like a handyman or a builder or those kinds of jobs, like actual like electrician, like real practical work that a robot can't do yet, those are good opportunities. But, most people will be unemployed in the next 2 to 5 years, in my humble opinion, because again, that's what they want. The only way BlackRock and the scam artists on Wall Street, and these evil politicians can move us into a new government and a new system controlled by them is to remove your power and sovereignty and your ability to make money in the future so that they can then roll out the solution to the problem that they created, which is universal basic peasantry income. Which again, I've been warning you about this for years. Same thing Jack Dorsey had said during 2020 on his Twitter account. It said right after they were finished with the event I'm not allowed to talk about, they would be moving all Americans into UBI. And that's where it's going. Pensions will fail. Pensions are going to go bankrupt. Social Security is likely to either fail or become so hyperinflationary that it won't matter if you're receiving Social Security. Once they roll out UBI and every American's getting, say, $2,000 a month in hyperinflationary money, that money will only be good for living in the projects. You do understand that because it'll only create more hyperinflation. If everyone's getting it and everyone can afford $2,000 a month in hyperinflation cash, then the only place you'll live will be like a project. It'll be the new Chicago like type projects, like of the past. It's Hunger Games, guys. This is why, This is why you need to get rich. Again, options and choices. Options and choices will be your number one advantage in the future. It's not about money. It's about options and choices. While the world global, those people, those evildoers, the powers that were have their way with the westernized world. And it's what's happening now. I mean, everything's so highly, tightly controlled now, especially with technology. The nightmare that we're approaching, which is why I complain about it all the time, is your worst nightmare. You're not going to be able to get into your vehicle. They're going to turn it off. You won't be able to start your engine because a centralized computer will say that you can't drive. You're not going to be able to open up your front door. You can't now walk outside without being surveilled. You can't even be a human being without being tracked 24/7. Illegally, you're being tracked and surveilled right now, and they're watching you take a crap on your toilet and make love to your wife. Again, they said all this stuff was conspiracy, but it's not conspiracy, it's just the truth. Just like they're modifying all the weather now, and that's a fact. It's not a conspiracy. They've been spraying barium and other chemicals for years now. They've just been hiding it. Now they're taking the masks off. They're showing the American population how evil they are. They've shown you their plan. We know a cyber event is coming next. We know Taiwan will be invaded next. We know UBI is next. We know that they're rebuilding. They're going to be rebuilding the temple in Israel. We know that the Antichrist is now here worldwide, so he's rising. He's about, I believe, to reveal himself to populations. And we're just kind of tiptoeing. I mean, look at this, guys. Look at this. Look at this right now. Look at those chemtrails. God probably just put them there right now just so I could show you. Look at that. Spraying your sky right now. People want to know why they're sick. Look at this. That ain't normal. That ain't normal, guys. That's called a chemtrail. That's chemicals being sprayed into your sky. It's probably why I'm coughing and have phlegm in my throat and I can barely speak today. That's what it is. I very rarely, yes, aluminum. I very rarely see that in Maui, although they have started spraying a little bit, actually, tragically. They really started spraying right prior to the fires, and then the fires hit. So I'm sure it was some kind of geo modification that helped with that. Unfortunately, same thing with the floods and all that, and the tornadoes and all the weather warfare that we currently see. I mean, look, if you're a government, it's much smarter to launch weather warfare than it would be to press a nuke. I mean, if you could take out the entire eastern seaboard or other locations that were strategic targets simply by weather modification, you would do that. Because then you're not to blame. You're like, oh, no, it was just a natural event. That's why all the insurance companies have now changed all of their fine print. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have noticed that, but there's all these new acts of God, so they don't have to pay out their insurance to you anymore. Health insurance is skyrocketing. I mean, I'll just give you an example. My family's health insurance that I pay monthly is about $3,100 a month. And even though it's pretty good insurance, like that's a mortgage payment for most people. I mean, I could just buy another like investment property with that. It still provides like basic coverage. Like I still have a deductible that's like $5,000 a year. So I still pay out of pocket for everything, even with the insurance. And it's $3,100 a month for my family. Again, you have to be rich. Seriously, this, especially as an entrepreneur. For those of you that work for employers, you would be shocked. Like bare minimum expenses for me just to exist as a human being, just to pay like basic insurance and then all the insurance and all the stuff, we're responsible for like employees and all that kind of stuff. You at least have to crush six figures just to cover basics of necessities, even to exist before you even start turning a profit. This is why all of you need to get into the seven figures zone. And you need to be in control of your own capital and your own ability to make money. This is why I love entrepreneurship, because no one tells me how much money I can make. You just make as much money as you want. I don't know. I hope this video is giving the right impression today. Maybe I'm a little tired, but these chemtrails are really, really freaking me out. Look at this. Look at these freaking chemtrails. So even though I sound negative, I'm actually really positive right now. I sound super negative, but I'm super positive in the respect. Be greedy when others are fearful. You should be buying Bitcoin when BlackRock is trying to steal it from you. As the stock market crashes, you want to get ahead of that and move your money out of the bank right now. Call Papa John at 808-442-2934. Get your money out of the banks right now while you still have your retirement accounts and access to them, and there's not some major conflagrating event that prohibits your ability to move your money. I encourage you even to go try to move your money. I've had many people on board recently. They're like, yeah, I went to the bank, tried to move 100K, and they told me no. They were so shocked and so activated by seeing that the banks wouldn't even give them their own money that it only encouraged them to invest even more. Like reverse psychology. I forget what the word is for that, but when they tell you you can't do something and Americans figure out that you actually don't own your own assets, then people really freak out and start rushing their money out of the banks. So I go encourage you. I mean, even if you try to withdraw like $10,000 in cash out of your bank, the first thing the teller will be like, what is it for? Well, what are you doing with it? You're like, I don't know, I'm just taking cash. Is it for drugs? Are you a part of a mob? I mean, seriously, like go try to take out more than $10,000 and they're going to call management in on your money. And there's going to be a whole discussion. I mean, half the time they're going to call it up the ladder, and try to figure it out. Because again, they don't want you taking money out of circulation. Now you can wire transfer money to another bank because it's all digital and lies and IOUs, but try to take the actual wealth out of circulation and deploy it into a real asset. It raises eyebrows. People are like, wait a minute, you can't have ownership over something, because again, their goal is that you're a slave. The goal is they have control over your retirement accounts. The goal is that you don't have a job. The goal is they can inflict pain and suffering like they did in 2020 because they control the food, water, air supply, and the economy and the stock market and the interest rates and the bailouts. That's what they do. That's why I've told you, I mean, even if you don't invest in real estate, let's say you have $1 million in the bank, just buy Rolexes and you'll do much better. Just go out and buy like, 10 prized watches. You would be better taking your money out of the bank and buying very unique supercars right now. Buy La Ferrari, buy the one that's $1 million and just put it in your garage and polish it up and occasionally take it out of the garage. It'll be fun and it'll appreciate. Because again, the lying, scam, Ponzi, debt-ridden, bankrupt financial economy, which has been engineered in a pre-planned event by those in power, is now crashing. And here I am ranting about 41 minutes in. I always try to do these videos in 5 minutes. It never works. I have far too much to say. So that's it. That's all I got for today. I'm going to close it there. Tons of opportunity ahead. Make your move now. Move your money out of the banks today. OnboardIslandProject.com. Be looking for opportunities in the crypto space. Don't let BlackRock steal your bags. And then I also want to hear from you. Links below. Please like and share it. Share this video, and I'll have more updates like this very, very soon. So there's more opportunity now than there's ever been. Always be thinking like in reverse from what they're telling you. Again, if they tell you be safe, that means you're in danger. If they tell you, the opposite of that, it's the opposite of that truth. All right. I love you. Links below. Islandproject.com. Live the life of your dreams. Don't inhale the chemtrails. Okay, that's a whole nother video discussion there. And also want to hear what you think now that Johnson & Johnson has been fined nearly $7 billion causing turbo cancers from its talc powder. I guess it's caused like a lot of ovarian cancers, and there's been a lot of women that have died in the last several decades, tragically, like really heinous suffering deaths in their deathbed. Do you think that there could be actual side effects for that other thing we're not allowed to talk about? What do you think? Now, again, all those companies with no legal liability have the next 100 years scot-free to keep selling you all that stuff without any repercussions at all. In the United States, a non-free slave ship, which is what it is, which has never changed, ever. I would argue, maybe since when we were the colonies, that was the most free that we ever were. But outside of that, everything's a con. Wall Street's a con. Central bank is a racketeering organization. Your politicians suck. You have no choice at all. If Donald Trump and Joe Biden are the only options, it approves America as one big scam and fraud. I'd rather vote for about anyone else, honestly. I'd rather vote for a regular person. Like if my dad was running for president, he'd be the best president in the world. Best decision maker, classy, great under pressure, good person, good businessman. That doesn't exist in the United States. The United States of America is truly screwed, in my humble opinion. It's all one big, giant laughingstock, and it's one big sellout scam to the rest of the world. This is why big corporations sold all the jobs to China and extracted all that wealth to America's enemies, and it's why PGA Tour and BlackRock is selling you all out to Saudi Arabia now. Again, it never changes, guys. It's all one giant cuckery. So again, get rich. You have no other option but to get rich. You have no other option but to join us. You have no other option but to get your money out of the banks. Don't call us, okay, when the banks close. Don't call my dad when your stock portfolio is down 80%. That'll be too late. What will even be the point at that point? There will be no need for me to shoot a video after the bank runs, okay? There's not going to be any reason for me to tell you to get your money out of the banks after they've closed them and instituted capital controls. There's not going to be any reason for you to do anything at that point outside of call up the local, government office and ask them how much your UBI payment will be so you're living in the freaking projects. Again, you don't want to, it's reminding me of Chris Farley. And you'll be living in a van down by the river. Chris Farley's brother actually went to my college at George Washington University. It was hilarious, and he looked just like him. We had a lot of influential figures at GW, George Washington University. Even the one of the sons of the very infamous Lucchese family, right? The Lucchese family was in my frat. Really interesting, a lot of powerful people from all over the world because, DC is very much international in nature. Anyways, Lance, I love you, brother. Pablo, what is up? Get in now. Be looking at all these opportunities and pounce on them. If you just came into the video, I don't think we've seen the capitulation event yet. So just be on your toes. Get ready to deploy capital, move your money out of the banks, get into real assets, be looking at crypto as a big, big opportunity. That's what I'm doing. And when you see massive capitulation, that's when you're going to want to go all in for the summer. And I'm expecting the summer to be just really kind of, happy sailing, like in and around July, August. That's when we'll be hitting like 150, 250K Bitcoin. And that'll probably be when I'll be telling you to take some profits again. That'll be like in July, after BlackRock has stolen all the bags of the dumb retail money. I'm serious, though. That's literally what's going to happen. That's it. God bless. Links below, islandproject.com, the digital Noah's Ark. You guys are beautiful. Have an amazing day.